Bonjour watcher, this is John Mega 45 and welcome to the Fruit of Grisaia. In the last episode we'll see a flashback, yeah. Finally, after a long time, Makina's flashback is come, yes. So we're going to continue. And I cannot wait to make my choices. So let's.
虫がほらいっぱいね。死んじゃったの。
Said Makina-chan.
言ったじゃない。私はまたパパに騙された。平気だなんて言っておいて死んじゃった。ねえ、信じられる？こんな嘘って信じられないよ。私は信じなかった。だから何度も何度もパパに話しかけて、パパには誕生日に子犬を買ってもらうはずだった。パパの仕事が夏休みになったら海に連れて行ってくれるって約束をしていた。夜になったらパパと一緒に花火をするって約束をした。パパは自分の子供に自転車の乗り方を教えるのが夢だった。
So all those 4 words, only one did it achieve by a puppy.
私はそれをずっと楽しみにしていたのに。だから私はいつまでもパパに話しかけてた。でももう何も話すことがなくなった。話し尽くしてしまった。だから私は黙ってパパの死体を見ていた。もう一生分ぐらい話してしまったのだから、これ以上は喋る必要なんてないと思った。だから最後に一言だけ喋って、それでもう最後にしようって。
Oh, Papa, you liar. I don't know if the words Makina just spoke were directly at me or her real father. But either way, they startled me, consciousness of hiding things from her. Watching the girl sniffing miserably in my legs, I can feel my own mood sinking. It's not like me to get pulled along by the emotions of others. That's all? The flashback we get? That escalated quickly. If I gotten weaker, the thoughts unpleasant, disturbing. Even if like I'm beaten into something, I felt my teeth rattle loosely in my skull. The animal's variety show on the television having reached the serious second half of the program begins to broadcast the story of the wolf raising its children.
狼という生き物は動物の中でも特に家族を大切にする生き物です。
Wound and bloody, the wolf on the screen fights to protect its children. You know how many times it's knocked out, the animal keeps standing up again. I see, weaker is the right word, is it? Makina reaches out reflexively as if requesting help. I take her hand and squeeze it firmly. I'm right here, Makina. When we're like this, I can almost fool myself to believe I become a good person. It's embarrassing to discover and stay capable of these sort of feelings, but it also brings me something close to a happiness. At the same time, there's an undercurrent of unease, the same old doubts. Is it really alright for me to touch this girl with my soiled hand? But I made up my mind. If this girl reaches out for help, I will take her hand. I will hold on as long as I can. If I should falter, I let go and fall alone. Makina's hand grasps tightly in mine, feels a little lighter than it did before. I haven't spent much time in any halfway normal schools, so I can't really call myself an authority on the subject, but the thing called homework is truly pain in the ass. Even as I approach and you know you have a buckle down, you'll find yourself making more progress on cleaning your room than reading your textbooks, reflexively seeking out any possible distraction from reality. Some people handle it better than others, but in general nobody at their best when forced to confront something troublesome. Just spacing out an odious piles of problems requires some real willpower. At present, my class is the homework I need to confront. And due to the truly enormous scope of the problem, using youthful energy to force my way to a solution hasn't gone so smoothly. There may be a lot of unproductive agonizing going on. Of course, considering the imminent danger, it's clear that taking immediate action would be best. If I got the time to procrastinate using my daily running routine as a pretext, it would probably be better spending charging into the Ariff's home with a dagger in my hand and at least try to do my duty. However, we are dealing with a conglomerate that's strongly tied to the nation itself. No matter how fiercely a single milk bugs and snort outside the gate, they are not exactly going to shake in their shoes. And even if by some chance the world were to tilt in an unexpected direction, how could we hope to compensate society for the resulting damage? No matter how hard I think, the answers don't come. It's easy enough to push that you'll stick to your guns no matter who tries to push you around, but the simple fact is that fighting the power almost never ends badly for the power in question. Hell, if one individual stubbornly resistance were enough to frustrate those entrusted with authority, the way of the world would change fundamentally and not necessarily for the better. In the end, I'm not much than a country pet dog, and the disrespect and sexual influence with my master, I can't ever bend my fangs against them. But here what it comes down to it, I want to keep Makina safe, even if it costs me my life. I don't give a damn about the national interest on a very safe, very personal level. It is Makina is my first and absolute priority. I love you, Makina, more than anyone else in the world. And she blushed. I'm affirming my own feelings, that's all. The fact that I love you, that you're the one I should prioritize above all else. I was just speaking those thoughts out loud is to see if they rang true. In terms of my personal feelings, there's nothing wrong with those words. Makina, you're definitely the most important thing in the world to me. However, as the wise man once said, there's no woman in the world more troublesome than your mother. It's a little hard to say this to her own daughter, but I don't think it's possible to face this both gently and accurately. I'm going to be frank, your mom's a sociopathic bitch. And despite this long, convoluted attempt and excuse, when you get right down to it, I'm afraid of her.
それは、実の娘の私が言うのもなんだけど、私のお母さんは子供がそのまま大人になったような残酷な人だから、ビビっちゃうのもわかる話なのよ。
To be honest, I don't have the strength to confront your family head on. Given that there are only two possibilities, we can run and hide, or we can try to hold out and find a way to endure their one-side abuse. To be honest, I can't bring myself to make that call. What do you want me to do? No, please tell me what should I do, Makina.
だからって私に聞かれても、私個人の都合でパパを振り回す結果になるのは目に見えているのに。 何も言えないのよ。
I see. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Alright, in that case, let's get a third option. We can pretend like they're the one who pushes into his death, do whatever we want while blaming on them. How's that sound?
おお、極めて日本人的な責任転嫁なのよさ。さすがだよ。それで行こう。パパ超頭いいよ。
No matter how skilled a soldier you may be, when you're unsure of the next move, don't try to monitor it alone. Consult your superior officer. Battles are won and lost on the big picture's level of strategy. No man on the ground can see the whole board. Rather have blindly guided by only by emotions of values, this kind of criminal stupidity that invites disaster. When I was very young, the person who looked down on the world from above was always my sister. If I did as she told me, I was good at least avoid the worst case scenario no matter what the situation. After my sister died, the next person to watch the big picture for me was my master. Masako's advice tended to be a little heavy on the brute force approach, sometimes to the point of excess. Jerry was an indispensable cutaway, leaning heavily in the opposite direction. Asako loved the high-risk, high-return play. Jerry's strong in favor of low-risk, low-return. Raised under their mutual guidance, I naturally began to weigh their opinions against each other, searching for the answer that felt correct to me. But today, Asako's no longer around to offer one of those drastic plans that always felt you wondering if she ever thought about the consequences. Even I could consult with Jamie, but she without a doubt recommend looking for a way to maintain the status quo without nothing more than the passive opinion of a woman force on the way the wind are blowing. Should we give him or resist? To break this sort of deadlock, you really do need someone who can provide a big picture perspective.
で、なぜ私のところへ来るのかしら?
Save us. Isn't it obvious? There are many people in this school even familiar with the circumstances, and despite the whole nature of the observant act, they're constantly giving us precise and timely advice.
だからって、私にどうしろというの?
I don't expect you to do anything. Hell, look at the standing for the coin flip. Just casually call out head or tails if you want. You don't understand our situations, right?
それでも結果はつきまとうわ。私が気楽に決めた結果で、あなたたちがどうなっても責任は取れないし、後悔もしたくはない。他を当たってちょうだい。
そんな冷たいことを言うなよ。他には相談できないの知ってるでしょ?
I just realized her their principal Tachibana never appeared. Chizuru, yeah, never appeared in this one. I was wondering like why.
だからって、私だって困るのよ。そんなこと。
But they only come during the. But the sensei only came during the first part, and then the behind part I don't see any her involvement. I understand we're asking a lot, but I had to make apologize Facebook with the approach of an overwhelmed powerful American army. Do you continue fighting down to the last of you? Or is that we bring the account and swallow your return to help lay the cornerstone of your nation's long painful rebirth? Even if you consult the non-com who's taken over your platoon after the CEO bite the dust, here just now, the hell do I know? Make up your own damn mind in response. Anything, you're better off making a free appointment in the absence of the true CEO. Shout Captain Kazami, you are the leader of this platoon, then give him a temporary promotion to the second lieutenant. You man can help us stiffen his spine. However, even though full well that I've been unreasonable, I want to ask you once more, what should I do, Commander Sakaki?
中隊長って。
注意殿、お言葉を。あなたがたった一言、私たちに死ねと言ってくだされば、私たちは何年でもこの島に立てこもり、一兵でも多くの敵をご振りましょう。
あのね、これは軍隊ごっこじゃないのよ。そんな大事なことを私の意見でどうにかしようというのがそもそもの間違いだわ。あなたたち、私を神様か何かと勘違いしていない？
Yes, you are my kami-sama, Himiko-chan. I love you so much. I love you until the bottom of my heart. So you're saying, but if you remember a single character from the name Sakaki, you left with the kanji you forgot.
おお、うまいこと言うな。
Sakaki, my friend, oh my god, tell us what you should do. I beset you.
ほら、お賽銭あげるのよさ。ぜひご神託を。ゴッドゴッド。
私に小銭を投げつけるのはやめなさい。
There are no anticipated falsehoods, as they say. The opponent's far more powerful than us. That reality is clearly that the sight of the bombers soaring overhead on their ways to devastate the mainland. How meaningful would it be to barricade ourselves away in this island? Is dying and becoming a patriotic spirit really the only righteous choice? But surviving game by turning tail and flee is a shameful thing. Anyone with a share of compassion for those left behind could accept such a selfish path. The only easy way to resolve this is by sending Makina home to her family immediately, but what awaits her is death in spirit, if not the body. But if I were to flee with Makina in town, those left behind this school might will suffer the consequences as well. In the worst case scenario, there is no guarantee they won't be taken as hostages. I understand that I've been tested here, but it says I'm a hopeless loser who can't make his own decisions when push comes to shove. Please help me, Sakaki.
よしこ。
What Yoshiko? Yumiko?
だからユミコを勝手にヨシコにするなと何度も言っているでしょう。
Sorry about that. Kids these days feels the need to invest life for every time they say it. Try to let it slide.
だいたい答えはもう決まっているんでしょ。だったら好きにしたらいいじゃない。あなたたちは結局後始末を私に押し付けたいだけなのよ。違う？
You're not wrong. That's exactly how it is. I know we are being incredibly selfish. This might end up causing serious problem for you and the others, but even so, I want to protect Makina.
私の正直な意見を言っても構わない？
Go ahead.
この学園ではある程度の安全が保証されているとはいえ、イリスさんが標的になっている以上、イリスさん本人はもちろんのこと、他の学園生においても保護はしきれないというのが現状よ。同じ学び屋で席を並べた友を放り出すのは私としても忍びないところではあるけれども、学園経営者の娘としては苦渋の決断をせざるを得ない。イリス・マキナさん、あなたを当学園から除籍します。
除籍？
You are no longer the student of this academy. In other words,
休学でも退学でもなく除籍。つまり書類上はイリス・マキナはこの学園にはいなかったということになるわ。
what a sad life for Makina. I say, it is everything documented the name Iris Makina on it, probably only procured under the circumstances, which would mean as well.
ええ、あなたもよ。風見雄二なんて学生、うちにはいなかった。それでいいのでしょ？学園長や他の子たちには私から説明しておくわ。
Sorry for the hassle.
いいのよ。逆に言えば、それぐらいしかしてあげられないのが私なのだから。
Alright, Makina, since that desire, want to run away with me?
逃げよう。地の果てまでも。
Sakaki's right. Of course, whatever I might have said, the truth is already I had my mind. That's now the easiest thing is not to leave people that they can be pursued or negotiate with. Staying here would leave me grinding my teeth on the lane. If I go into the war and wait for the hurricane to pass, I ultimately be forced to kill Makina with my own hands. Given the choice between killing her and running away, I actually chose the latter. Where disappearing into the night without a word would be agonizing. Knowing that those we are leaving behind will face unjust suffering, I simply couldn't bring myself to do what had to be done. And also I agreed to assume the role of protecting this school from the consequences of our actions. Sakaki, thank you. Now I can run away with a clean conscience.
ユミちゃん、私からもありがとう。
私は厄介者を追い出しただけよ。お礼を言われるようなことは何もしていないわ。まあ、すべての方がついたら、またこの学園へ戻っていらっしゃい。除籍とはいえ、再入学はいつでも歓迎するから。
Apparently overcome emotions, Sakaki unexpected one was Makina spreads out her arms like a bird flapping its wings. Taking advantage of the momentary distraction this provides, she proceeds to battle force with Sakaki Blossom. Closer to the crippled Grisaia that established slight dash before her target's game will be get evade. Makina creature less tight allow Sakaki cutting her heart and the possibility to retreat.
ありがとう、ユミちゃん。私、きっとここに帰ってくるから。
わかったから、話して。
それまで元気でね。
Did Makina just kiss Yumiko in the mouth? Makina forces it against those of her immobilized prey and the girls are not playing around either. From this passionate case accompanied by the fake clenching of teeth against it, I sense something like as the sense of a female friendship. A profoundly moving spectacle brings a tear to my eyes. Afterwards, I seems to grow somewhat agitated. This gets on Makina's top on the girl's back like a martial art piece singly surrender. Yes, it is definitely a kiss. A kiss for Makina to Yumiko-chan. But the situation seems to be developing further. Sakaki slapping against Makina's back, become progressively weaker, and the muffled glass leaking out the corners of her mouth grows sweet in tone. Looks like you have stepped out your games once again, Makina. Taking these radiant scenes of womanly affection and noting with approval the maturation of my favorite people, I fold my arms in front of my chest and nod deeply in satisfaction. Fast running out of breath, at last Makina released Saka kiss from her guts, then Saki a great long pull of air.
ユミちゃん大好きだよ。
And Yumi-chan, of course, she's flustered.
何をするのよ。なんでキスしたの。
なんで
なんで。
What did you put that in?
サービスよ。
もうそんなお礼とかサービスとかいいから、とっととこの学園から出て行ってちょうだい。
Hey Sakaki, I had a managed to say goodbye yet.
追い出されちゃったのよさ。やつはなんであんな怒ってんの？
Don't ask me past the effectiveness of your technique, flustered her.
お礼がしたかっただけなのに失敗しちゃったかな。
Who knows? She made a good show of being angry, but for all we know, she's gone off to pressure herself to memory.
あなたたちいい加減にしなさい。
Not good, run Makina. What the? As a problem just knows that against the floor behind Makina, I fear the sprints. You know Makina, we have to say goodbye to this crew now. Are you really alright with that?
きっとこうするのが一番いいんだよ。ほら、猫ってさ、死ぬ時が迫ると飼い主の前からいなくなるって言うじゃない。私もそんな感じなのさ。
Yes, agree.
このままスッとみんなの前からいなくなって、うるさい子だったなーって、バカな子だったなーって、ちゃんと元気にしてるのかなーって、そんな風に思われたままいなくなりたいよ。
It's fine, you won't die, I won't let you. There's nothing to worry about.
ありがとう、パパ。
Now that we decided to move, there's no reason to drag our feet. Sometimes, a single minute speculations can prove fatal. Fatal, therefore, we're going to leave this place immediately. I'll give you 30 minutes. Attend to your affairs and gather your belongings within that time. Then regroup here, understood?
30分？
Better than 40 seconds, right? Get a move on. The clock's already ticking.
わかった。
After watching the girls pack out upstairs, I began my own preparation for departure. That's it, my first similar is pretty damn minimal. All I got is a single oversized backpack I launched here from Yamanashi. And even that, only halfway unpacked. I won't be taking any of what additional household goods I purchased after my arrival at this school. Easy enough to buy new one if they become necessary. The only thing I really need for daily in the short there are my tableware and portable stove. Cramming this into my backpack takes all of 5 minutes. I paused briefly to debate over what I should do with some half-read books Sakaki lends me, but since I probably won't have that many chances to come return them, it'd be best to leave them here. If I really feel the need to finish reading one of them, I can just purchase my own copy. Well then, since I finished packing nice and early, I have some time to think about what comes next. When you're on the run, a city is the ideal choice. The more densely populated, the better. Human beings have a natural tendency to hide out in some quiet little rural towns in the middle of nowhere, but that's a serious mistake. The only people who live in the country is full of kind-hearted folks who live tranquil lives are city dwellers who've never been there. In reality, your typical village is a den of insular, malicious and narrow-minded people, full of petty pride and obsessed with appearance. The countryside is a hell of a lot scarier than any city. And actually, it's all the more an hostile place for a complete stranger. The locals bear no social obligations or debts of gratitude to. When I was a kid, my mother and I learned that lesson in a hard way. Anyway, if we're going to try and hide out somewhere, ideally it should be a place neither Makina and I have even visited before. Few people being chased by their enemies take refuge in a place they're totally unfamiliar with. First will naturally starts by searching areas where the fugitive will have a home field advantage. If Mom and I had known that day back in the day, our lives might turn out slightly better than they did. The thought does inspire some bitterness. But there's not exactly anything to be done about that now. I can only shake my head firmly and put it out of my mind. So if we are running somewhere, I guess the city will be best. When you're hiding a tree, do it in the forest. It's always dark at the foot of the lighthouse. Yeah, there's a reason those proverbs has been passed down all this time. People pour in and out constantly. The residents are apathetically enough to not to glance over at the sun-next toilet stall. That's the city for you. However, massive clouds do have their downsides. Although it will be harder to find us, it also becomes more difficult for us to notice the movements of our enemies. It wouldn't be so bad if we just had the competing factions within the illusion to worry about, but I doubt we are going to get off that easy. My employee Ichigaya isn't going to sit back and let me leave, and if Asaka moves, there's a possibility our friends in the NSA and CSS may get involved as well. However, like the old joke goes, if you are in town on the weekend and notice a Caucasian in golf clothes, leather shoes and a pair of sunglasses, assume they are CIA. In other words, there are certainly ways to recognize those sort of people. A truthfully trained agent in their elements is obviously at a glance. You can tell a CIA man when he's standing, a CSS man when he's sitting, and an NSS man when he's walking. Considering the possibility of their involvement, it will probably be best to avoid UP infest areas of the city where business suits are common. In favor of rainbow who's overflowing with flashy young people. A place where punkies loiter around at all hours would be ideal. Anyone walking that straight line in that sort of crowd would stand out like a sore thumb. Well then, guess it's about time. I glanced back at the clock. Just about 20 minutes has passed since Makina and I split up. Here the rucksack containing everything on my back. I leave my room and shut the door behind me.
あれ、ユージ、あんた何その荷物？どっか行くの？
Oh no. Yeah, I think you might have a rough idea of the circumstances already, but Makina is in some real danger right now. The two of us are going to be hiding out for a while.
へえ、そうなんだ。どっか行き先の当てでもあるの？
No, nothing like that. Even if we did, it would be a good idea to use it.
なんか大変そうね。私に手伝えることってなんかある？
Yes, be an idiot as usual. Well, let's see. If you have any cash on hand, a little farewell donation would be helpful.
急に言われてもな。
Although Michiru's grim as a little, she nods as she retrieves her wallet from her pouch and takes a look inside.
ごめん、2000円しかない。
That's plenty. Thanks. I'll make careful use of it. By the way, Michiru.
何よ。
You're not really acting all that surprised, aren't you?
まあね。由美子からそれとなく事情は説明されたし、私たちにはどうすることもできないし、むしろ下手に関わろうとしない方があんたたちの助けになるって本当なの？
Yeah, exactly right. There's nothing you can do, and if you stuck your head in any way, you might as well end up become collateral damage. However, as long as you are in this school, it seems Sasaki is going to keep you safe. You can't just forget about us and go on living normally.
全部型がついたら戻ってくるんでしょ？
I can't promise that, but I'll definitely try.
別にあんたなんてどうなってもいいけど、マキナだけはちゃんと守りなさいよね。私こう見えてもあの子のこと結構気に入ってんだから。
Yeah, I'll promise you that. No matter what, I'll protect Makina above all else. You can trust me on this one.
嘘よ。
何？
あんたのことはどうでもいいって言ったの。嘘。あんたもちゃんと帰ってくんのよ。
Doctor, I'm particularly hard of hearing, but I didn't quite catch that. Mind repeating yourself one more time?
もううっさいわね。さっきの2000円あげたんじゃなくて貸したんだからね。勘違いすんじゃないわよ。ちゃんと返しに来なさいよね。わかったの？わかったら返事しなさい。
Look, you don't have to scream. I can hear you fine. I get it. I mean, do you want the 20 yen fare right now or what?
返すんじゃないわよ。何喧嘩してんのよさ。
Oh, hey there, Makina. Ready to leave?
ザリガニも中庭の池に返してきたし、荷物も持ったよ。ってあんたたちもう行っちゃうの？っていうかマキナ、あんた荷物ってそんだけ？そのカバンの中何が入ってるのよ？おやつとお財布と、あとは替えのパンツ。パンツってそんだけ？足 りないものがあれば買えばいいし、余計なものを持っても邪魔なだけなのよ。
What's attitude?
マキちゃんは入院慣れしてるから荷物が少ないのにも慣れてるもんね。
そっち。
マキちゃん、これさっき預かったリンゴの苗だけど、やっぱり私は受け取れないよ。これはマキちゃんが持って行って。
でも
マキちゃんがいつか安住の地を見つけたらそこに植えるといいよ。実がなる頃にはきっと全部片付いてるからね。
I see one of those silly or hope deals.
はい、いつかきっとみんなで笑いながらリンゴを食べられたらいいなってそう思うんです。
Makina, what did you take it?
わかった。じゃあいつかきっとみんなでリンゴ食べようね。
Ringo.
楽しみにしてるね。
ねえ、ちょっと本当に行っちゃうの？今すぐ？
Not to worry, we'll meet again.
はい、お二人の武運長久をお祈りしています。
Uh-oh. What happened to the music? Music just stopped. Amane?
ちょいとお待ちよ、お前さんたち。マキナ、あんたこれ持っていきなさいな。ホームベーカリー。
でもこれいいの？
これさえあればいつでもパンが焼けるでしょ。
This thing's going to be a bit of a burden.
うるさいわね。あんた男の子なんだからこれぐらいの荷物増えたって平気でしょ。あんたが背負っていけばいいじゃないのよ。
Well, yeah, I guess you're right.
あとこれあり合わせだけどお弁当詰めたからお昼になったら食べなさいね。マキナの好きなタケノコとレンコンとサヤエンドウの煮たのも入ってるから。
ありがとうなのよ。
あとあんた部屋に携帯電話忘れてたわよ。これがなかったら電話できないじゃない。
それはわざと置いてきたのよさ。
え、なんで？
We're not going on vacation, you know. You'll be like carrying around a convenient little homing device everywhere we go.
そっか。
あまねさんは心配性ですね。
だってそういうさっちゃんは心配じゃないの？
はい、私はマキちゃんも風見さんもちゃんと無事に帰ってくるって信じていますから。
信じてるってだけで確証なんかないんでしょ？
確かにそうです。でも私が信じているということをお二人に伝えました。それで十分ではないですか？
What a cute girl, Sa-chan.
どういうことよ？
例えばお二人が辛い状況にあって諦めてしまいそうになった時、信じて待っている人がいると思い出すことができれば、それが立ち上がる力になるかもしれません。信じるだけというのはいかにも無責任なように思えますが、信じるってそういう力があると私は思います。
さっち。
You're strong, Sachi.
分かった。だったら私も信じて待ってるから。私だって信じてあげてもいいのよ。っていうか信じるわよ。
はい？どうにも最近のみちる様は語尾が不明瞭でいけませんね。もっと大きな声で元気よくおっしゃっていただけますか？
もうわかったわよ。大きな声で言えばいいんでしょ。信じるわよ。これでいい？チルチルがちゃんとツンデレしてる。長生きはするものなのよさ。
そうそう、 人間長生きはするものだよ、マキちゃん。ですからマキちゃんも風見さんも必ず帰ってくると約束してください。
それは
嘘でもいいですからお願いします。そしてその言葉を信じて待っている者がここにいるとご記憶に留めていただきたく思います。
Understood, we'll be back. Makina and I both.
はい、お待ちしております。
約束だからね。絶対帰ってくるのよ。いい？
Yeah, it's a promise.
マキナ、あんたもちゃんと戻ってくるのよ。いい？ありがとう、チルチル。ありがとう、みんな。
Let's go, Makina. We pause for now. Makina snaps the slippery classes by to get squeeze her hands to face. Suddenly, attention, she turns her gaze around the road, taking a face of her friends one by one.
イリス・マキナ、行ってまいります。どうか皆様、お達者で。
Lowering her head about 10 degrees, the girls, after a salute worthy of affection, then turns around and walks out without another word. There's a possibility we'll never see any of them again. Are you alright with this quick farewell?
大丈夫なのよさ。きっとまた必ず会えるって私も信じてるし。また戻ってこれるんでしょ？
Yeah, that's right. Guarantee.
だったら何も問題ないのよさ。ただユミちゃんにお別れを言えなかったのは残念だけどね。
Well, she's a bit of a special case, I suppose.
どういうこと？
Look up at the roof of the school. After briefly squinting out in the distance, Makina retrieves the scope of her bags and presses the rubber cut to her eyes.
ユミちゃんだ。こっち見てる。あの子、あんなとこで何してんのよさ。
Must be her way of sending us off. I see, so she went with this approach, huh? I was expecting something of the sort. Although I pictured her leaning against a wall at the end of the platform watching in silence as our train rolled away.
なんであんな無駄に格好をつけてるの？
What's the point of acting all cool like that? Don't say that. Well, it's all pretty well, doesn't she? Why don't you hit her with a little striking of your own?
まあそうな。あばよ、親友。
Wait, did you two really get along that well?
そう言うなよ。
Well, as it says, it was a bit of a hazard side. With this, Makina and I took our leave of Miyama Academy. We're not running away in defeat, but rather falling back to fight another day. Still, when I think rationally about the odds of us ever return to this place, it's hard to have feeling more than a little glum as well. When I glanced at Makina, expecting to find some form of someone distorted her face after our abrupt departure. I'm somewhat surprised to find she doesn't look particularly discouraged, let alone teary eyes. If anything, her bright and optimistic expression reminds me of a younger heading out to the zoo hand in hand with her father. That attitude is clearly only possible because of Makina's genuine trust in me, so I don't particularly feel the need to remind her this is it again. There's no need to share my burden with her. From this point on, things will get a little murky. I have roughly decided that we will consider ourselves in the city, but the specific area and the details of how we will be getting there are still out in the air. In any case, we are only just taking the first step on our somewhat contented and full and determined to retreat. It's definitely nice that we are able to rush out of Miyama without leaving any ill will or regret in our wake, but now we have to face the real problems. The first hurdle we need to clear is arranging our method of transportation. It wouldn't be that problem like I was alone, but with Makina thinking a lot is that ancient move with car dilemma. The range we can reasonably expect to cover on foot is severely limited. I did consider asking Amani to loan us a vehicle, but if all possible, I don't want to risk dragging her into this. Materials aiding at battle would be more than enough to let her dip in hot water. In the first place, hurry out on the crowded place so we can blink in by zipping along all ourselves on the couch with one second will be definitely the definition of a cart before the horse. And since we have nothing whatsoever in the way of support, it's painfully clear that avoiding the watchful gaze of the ancestor and strict numbers will be a major challenge. Using public transportation as bus or train would be the ideal countermeasure since other passengers will become human shields and camouflage. Which leaves us? with the thorny problem of slipping past the civilian camp around the train station, but the black motorcycle is nowhere to be found at Annie's place. Hey Makina, sorry, but can you head up to the platform first and wait for me? Don't worry, I'll be there soon, but if I don't show up within 30 minutes, head for the place written on this paper. You can handle that, right? I don't want to be alone. Don't make that face. I don't want to make you act on your own right off the bat either. But if I have a few obligations, I can't just walk away from here. Yeah, I give you the money I scanned off material earlier. Get yourself a much long while you wait for something. Ice cream comes after the meal. I'll buy for you later, so just be patient. Yes. Right. Where the civilian operated black motorcycle was parked the other day. There's an exceptional eye-catching bright yellow sports car. There's only one person who can account things like that around here, JB.
ちょっとあなたとお話がしたいのだけれど、少しお時間いいかしら。
You want to stop me? Not as if you're going to stop talking if I say no, right? Beginning the conversation with a heavy sigh in the word, I knew he calmed down his JB creates her neck back and forth, a familiar gesture of exasperation. Well, I mean, more or less all the she see through me, and I'd be prepared for the possibility she get in touch somehow once we took action, but I have to admit, I didn't expect her to clear the area for a face-to-face meeting like this.
行くあてはあるの?
Not really, and even if I did, I couldn't exactly tell you about it, as you're well aware, JB. I like to think I understand you almost as well as you understand me. You can't betray Ichigaya, can't you?
子供が知った風な口を。
I know that you are incapable of sacrificing the large for the small. You believe in prioritizing the big picture, and you have lived up by that principle all this time. If you chose to betray the organization for our sake here, and now all those small things you sacrificed up to this point would die in vain, you can't possibly do that. Even if you could, I would ask you to.
無駄なことよ。やめておきなさい。どうせあなたたちはすぐに処分される。でも、今ここで両手を上げるのならば、確保で済ませることもできる。
And what happens then? You plan to re-educate me or maybe arrange some execution where I just an unusually high price of disposal equipment. So I suppose that's befitting enough. But what happens to Makina? If we hand her over to her family, she'll be killed. Am I wrong? If I'm going to put down in the end anyway, I'll use the rest of my life for Makina's sake.
落ち着いてよく考えなさい。あなた一人で何ができるというの？これは赤坂と市ヶ谷の相違で決まったことなのよ。
Yeah, that's another thing I don't understand. Why go that far? We are talking about Makina here. You know, a perfectly common place and slightly linked with girls with some awkward family circumstances. What meaning is there in killing one insignificant woman like that? Why would the nation itself fixate on her like this? Sorry, you don't have to answer that. I have always openly declared my intention to become a traitor. Just by coming to meet me like this, Javis already placed herself in a significant unfavorable position. And especially given that she is my direct supervisor and case official, if the cards fall badly, it's entirely possible to imagine her being taken into custody herself. I thought living quietly would be an act of courtesy toward you. That way you could just be a dumb, blunt who didn't see any of this coming. Tell me something, Javis. If you knew that I was going to do, then why are you here?
そうね。ちゃんとお互いに顔を見て話し合えば、あなたを説得できる。そんな風に甘く考えていたのかもしれないわね。
And the episode here. Thank you for watching my video. My video is just for fun. Don't take heart, brothers and sisters. Magic one time. Adios and famosa.